promise. Get it, Rose, get it. This old man, he don't run, he play take that 100-round drum.
Yeah. You see it. It's episode 7, Fight Night Chronicles, the war between Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Thomas the Hitman Hearns. This was one of those ones. You can ask anybody from around the world, no matter where you was. This was considered the best or the most exciting 3 rounds of boxing. Everybody, when they talk about, they see 2 guys, when you see guys go at it in the ring nowadays and you see them go at it, everybody mentions, oh, they came out there like Hagler and Hearns. Oh, I thought they was going to come out there like Hagler and Hearns. They always mention Hagler and Hearns, and they mentioned the war. They mentioned the war between these 2 gentlemen. I'm not even going to hold you. Thomas the Hitman Hearns was a hometown favorite, not because he was from my hometown. It's because he was a favorite in my household. I grew up being a fan of Thomas the Hitman Hearns, even though the guy Marvelous the Marvelin Hagler was from my state, and he was just a town over in Brockton. It was different contrasts on how they were being promoted, you know, and that's what affected people's opinions to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 7th episode, the war between Hagler and Hearns. I'm the commissioner, $1 Bill. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. And beside me, that's my co-host, the classy one, Mr. Neutral. How you doing, my brother? We got one today. Let them know. Yeah, Trey's always locked in. It's wartime. You already know what it is. It's wartime. You got your popcorn ready, and so do I. You know what I'm saying? It's time for Fight Night Chronicles. I ain't never sleeping. You already know what it is with me. Mr. Neutral, soon as I show you this picture, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say the war?
What that comes into mind? Brutality. Sheer, utter brutality. That's what I think.
Yeah, definitely. Both gentlemen, like I was alluding to before, because we're going to get into the fight. Yo, shout out to everybody that tunes in to the F.N.C. You know what I'm saying? You guys are the real stars, you know, and I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And I know the classy one does as well. When we talk about this fight, the build-ups to this fight, you know, Marvelous Hagler, you know, he was the working man.
All right.
He was the working man. You know, now as I got older, I learned to appreciate Marvelous Marvin Hagler even more.
Very much so. Rather, you know, in episode 6, we done Aaron Pryor, didn't we? Versus Alexis Aguero. This is like another fight exactly the same. You know, Alexis was more like Thomas Hitman Hearns, the way he was conducting himself at welterweight, and you know, at the age of 21, becoming a champion. You know, he's classy. He was destructive, and he was a great boxer at the same time. And then you had Marvelous Marvin Hagler, who had to journey his way up to title fights, and you know, it beggars belief that Marvin Hagler was 46-2 by the time he got to his first title shot against Vito Antuofermo back in 1979 for the undisputed WB, WBC, and Ring Magazine titles. He was robbed that day. And there's a picture of us when he was fighting Pepino. He was robbed that day of a draw to become undisputed in 1979 back then. So he went on to have 4 more fights, including Alan Minter there. That was 1980 in September at the Wembley Arena at Wembley. This infamous night, not only for Marvin Hagler, but for Alan Minter too. Alan Minter was the undisputed champion, having beaten Vito Antuofermo in 1980 and defended against him twice. So the British were really sort of, quite upbeat about this fight. They were thinking, well, Hagler couldn't beat Vito Antuofermo. Alan Minter done him twice. The second time he retired him. And the Brits were quite rightly saying, at that time, we're going to do this. And he had a massive support, Alan Minter, for this fight. And the way it went was, sheer destructive performance by Hagler, and knocked him out in the third round. And the crowd went mad. It's an infamous night. They were throwing bottles and all sorts of objects into the ring.
Really sad. It was a really sad night in boxing, right?
It was a very sad night for British boxing.
Yeah. It was a shameful night. I remember talking about this night before on one of the shows here, and it was one of those where he never got a chance to have his moment. You know how, like, I always say to people, because when they have the email champions and people get elevated without being able to step in the ring, I always say that they've been cheated, right? Because I always say, if you don't cry in the ring, then you're not a champion. Meaning that if you don't get your shot, to win the belt fair in the ring, you're not a champion. He didn't get his moment. He became champion. He didn't get his moment to cry in the ring like he wanted to, because the racial slurs were thrown as well as bottles. He had to be protected by Petronelli and the rest of his cornermen, and he was ushered out of there. His coaching staff received stitches and stuff from the bottles and stuff. It was definitely a horrible moment, and he never felt like he got his just due. Just to piggyback off of what you were saying, Mr. Neutral.
But I just a shameful night. British police had to, escort the whole team away immediately, because it got so out of hand. The way these missiles were coming into the ring, and I was watching as a young boy. I was in disbelief at that scenes, and never before had I ever seen anything like that. I mean, I was about 13 years of age then, and all I wanted to see was a boxing match. We never got to see a celebration or anything. We just knew that Marvin Hagler had knocked out Britain's undisputed middleweight champion. However, since then, the notoriety of that fight sort of escalated Hagler onto the world stage. And he had to, in 1981, he had to after beating Minter, he had to have a mandatory against Fulgencio Obo Majas, who was 30-0 at the time, the Mexicans, and ranked number one by both WB and WBC. Marvin thought, well, I don't think this guy is good enough, and quite rightly so, he knocks him out in the 8th round. Another rematch for Vito, as your picture sees there. He retired Vito in the 4th round. Vito was knocked down in the 3rd, and the East corner pulled him out in the 4th. Such was the hammering that Marvin Hagler gave him. Another defense against Mustafa Hamsho, who was 31-2 at the time. Very, very handy man. And again, Tony Simpson, the British, guy, as you've seen there in the black and white, he was another British middleweight. He was very good at the time, very well regarded, lots of support. So he was having these defenses. Now in 1982, Thomas Hearns had just beaten Wilfred Benitez, and the big fight was supposed to be made at middleweight between Hagler and Thomas Hearns. But Thomas Hearns had pulled out of two attempted, fights to be made in 1982, much to the annoyance of Marvin Hagler, who again felt that he was being avoided by the big stars. He dealt with Roberto Duran before that in November. And so it was that time then that Hagler was now renowned, much in the same way as Alan Pryor was, that he was this, this killer in the ring with not very much, or what would you say, a media-friendly personality. He just got on with the job. He was so professional. Pat and Goody Petronelli from Brockton, German, Massachusetts, where Marvin had trained from the age of 16 after being sort of bullied in, a party some weeks before. And the funny story was he walked into a gym only to find out that, the guy that beat him up was actually training at that gym. He was a boxer. And he left that gym, walked into Pat and Goody's gym, and the rest is history. Top Rank teamed up with him not so long after. And, he went on that fabulous run. But it beggars belief that Marvin Hagler, when he got to that fight with Thomas Hunt, was 62-2. That is an incredible record on his own. And he was not even 32 at the time. And then there's him and Pat, his great friend, loyal to the bones, Marvin, to the Petronelli brothers of Massachusetts, Brockton, Massachusetts. And that's your area, isn't it, not true?
Yes, it is. It's like 15 minutes away from me. I actually have a family that live there right now. So, yeah, that's right up the street. That's the next town over. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But to his credit, and like we talked about it, this fight was like, in a way, Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier.
Very much.
And I'll say it just because of this. You see who he had in his corner. The Petronellis. Irish, you know what I'm saying? And he was around the white, so and considered in the hood like he was a Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how everything was divided. There was a lot of, a lot of people didn't know his backstory and how he came up rough and stuff like that. They just looked like how he was and the fans that he had and his cornermen and the people that was around him, opposed to Tommy the Hitman's Hearns, who was living a lifestyle that a lot of African Americans were living. They felt like they can identify more with Tommy. So it was like a split, just like how it was with Frazier and Ali. You know what I'm saying? Frazier was kind of looked at as like the Uncle Tom, where, you got Muhammad Ali that was looked different. You know what I'm saying? So it was like that was what was going on at that time as far as people picking sides and stuff like that. We talked a little bit about Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Now, give me your views on Thomas the Hitman Hearns, who was one of my favorites and one of my household favorites. You know what I'm saying? It was my mom's favorite fighter, was Thomas the Hitman Hearns growing up. Thomas the Hitman Hearns was no joke. He came up, was one of those original guys at the Crump.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about that diversity in popularity. Manny Stewart was, as you said, one of Thomas's first trainers, stuck with him through the Crump gym. And they had that. Manny had already had that glamour trainer, image as well. So he would naturally attract more popularity, being with Manny. Now, however, Thomas, he still had to do it. I mean, he was a cracking amateur, ridiculous amateur record.
Yeah.
I believe there's 188 wins, 15 losses, and then turns pro under Manny stewardship, excuse the pun sort of thing. But he had 17 knockouts in a row at welterweight, Thomas. Yeah. Absolute, mainly out of Detroit, Michigan, other areas, Olympia. But, I'll move on to when he won his first vacant USBA welterweight title, the North American Championship. He beat Angel Espada fourth round knockout. 26-0-0. He went on, and he, as I said, he's 21 when he won his first title. So by the time he got to Jose Cuevas Pepino, at welterweight, the WBA champion, and he'd been a champion for 4 years, and he dethroned him in the second round. And people were starting to think, right, this is the glamour man, you know. He then moves on. He retains his WBA title for 3 further fights until he meets the great Sugar Ray Leonard. And that fight for the WBC and ring, for undisputed welterweight, again didn't do, and losing that fight didn't do Thomas any harm, because he went on to move up in weight and challenge Wilfred Benitez for the WBC and ring light middleweight title, which he won by majority decision. Wilfred Benitez is one of the generation's finest fights. The fifth, you would say, the fifth of the four kings. Say
it, Mr. Neutral. People like to leave Mr. Benitez out of there, but he was the fifth king.
That's right.
Four kings, but he was the fifth king.
And and that really propelled him back up into we need to see a rematch with Sugar Ray Leonard. And he was he'd just beaten Duran as well in one of the defenses, knocked him out in the second round.
Yeah.
And he was on a massive upward trend until he met Marvin Hagler in Caesar's Palace on April 15th, 1985. But, in that time, he was already cemented Thomas Hearns as one of the four kings. It took Marvin beating him to enter that, that club.
Yeah, shout out to both fighters. We're going to get into these fights. And it was 3 rounds. This fight was so special, right? And then it was 3 rounds. So we're going to go through all 3 rounds.
Yeah.
We're going to go through all 3 rounds. Basically, both guys promised fireworks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for the money they were getting as well, $5.4, $5.6 million respectively. There was a lot on the line, both guys undisputed. You have the undisputed champion and Marvin Hagler defending yet another weight rise. This was obviously Thomas Hearns' first fight at 168 pounds. 160 pounds. And, the odds were against him. The bookies had Hagler as the favourite still. But Thomas Hearns' big punching power they kept it short odds between them. It was only a short favourite, but it was such a big fight. I can't overstate it anymore. Undisputed fights in them days didn't come round very often. And when they did, they were revered. And the crowds come out of Caesar's Palace, a packed auditorium. All the stars were there. Chuck Hall, Jim Lampley, the full HBO team were there. It was just one of them special fight nights, just like like we do here. You can't overstate just how tense it was that night for fans of both sides. You muted me.
Yeah, it definitely was going down. One man had one mindset, though. One man had one mindset, and I'm not mad at him. And I'm gonna get into here about what happened after the fight, right? Because I will tell you, because we were rooting for Thomas to hit me and Hearns. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? We love Thomas to hit me and Hearns. We was rooting for Thomas to hit me and Hearns. But Tommy was coming in chilling. He had a different type of attitude. And this man had one thing on his mind.
War.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. You are about to witness the war. the war between Thomas the Hitman Hearns and Marvelous the Marvin Hagler. It's going Marvelous Marvin Hagler. It's about to go down. This is a special one. This is a special one. You ready, Mr. Neutral?
I'm ready, boss.
This is crazy. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Let's start. Right here. Here's the tail of the tape right here, ladies and gentlemen. You got Hagler, age 30, and his height, he's 5'9.5", and he weighs 159. You know what I'm saying? You got Thomas the Hitman Hearns.
There's their last 3 opponents each. Oh, sorry, common opponents.
Yeah.
Hagler's last or average punch round versus Durant and Hanshaw. Thomas Pounds, look at that. 55 punches thrown, landed 22 per round. Per round.
He was chilling it. They said that, you know, Thomas the Hitman Hearns was getting a massage, you know. He's age 26, height 6'1", weight 159. You know, Thomas the Hitman Hearns.
It's like he looked fantastic. He was always, especially at welterweight, which is, virtually a stone lighter. He always looked very skinny and gaunt, but he looked great.
That right hand had dynamite in it.
Very much so. Hagler.
You got this psycho over here. Look at him. That, he should have knew something was up. He started punching himself in the head and stuff like that. You knew something was wrong. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna care about if you hit him, if he just knocking himself. Look at him. He hit
himself already. Buckle up, because this is about to be 3 minutes of, the longest 3 minutes you're about to witness.
The crowd is all packed.
We're going to call this as if we've seen it for the first time.
Here's that.
There's Pat Petronelli, Richard Steele. Now, I want you to pay attention at the end of the fight to Richard Steele and Thomas Hearns, and then we'll understand something. We'll talk about that later. But as they separate there, and the fans are starting to, I don't know, adrenaline must have been exploding at that point when, and to imagine how they felt at the end of that first round when we show it. I would love to be in one of their shoes and what they were feeling after that, witnessing that. But, if you've never seen this before, you're about to witness the greatest round in boxing history, in my opinion, and many others. It's actually cool, doesn't it, mate? So strap in, buckle up.
Yeah, we seen that. I just want everybody to feel the energy. You know what I'm saying? I should have played this first. I actually didn't see it. I was so excited to do the show, but I'm gonna show y'all the energy. The energy of these guys.
A confident Thomas Hearns would move up to the 160-pound weight class, and the long-awaited showdown was set. Hostilities between the two fighters grew during a 20-city press tour.
Keep that belt by your bed, because it'll be the last time you see it.
When he would pull a little baseball cap on, war across the top, you knew, and I think Thomas Hearns knew, that it was about war with Hagler.
It's a mental toughness, and that's what I feel. War, that's what's on my mind.
Marvin was even more quiet than Tommy and said less. So in order to make the press conferences interesting, Thomas Hearns had to be the outgoing, talkative one.
And come April 15, and 3 rounds, I would be the greatest. I finish hitting with 1, 2, 3. I want to back off him just a little bit, so I can hit him with 4. Just back off.
Seeing his ugly face every day, you get tired, man. And then he had that big mouth. He's telling what he's gonna do. He's gonna knock my bald head off.
I already know who the winner is. And as for my man say he never fights a man twice, that's right. He's never gonna fight me again, because this is gonna be his last fight.
And it was on. Let's go. Round 1. Let's go. It's round 1. Thomas Hagler comes right out swinging. Bow, jab. Boom, boom, jab. Thomas the Hitman Hearns Hitting him with that jab.
Oh,
Trying
big
to ease
body
that
shot.
distance.
Oh, big right hand. Oh, tiger hand.
Another right hand. Go
Oh,
ahead,
it's
Tommy.
going off.
Go ahead, Tommy.
It's the first 20 seconds. He's hot. Hagler's hot in the first 20.
It looked like his legs is a little wobbly. Okay then, Tommy. Right there.
Oh, big left hand from Hagler.
It missed. That hook missed. Bow. Oh, that was a little low.
The spite and then punches are ridiculous.
Here
we go. Big left hand, back from Hearns.
Never left hook from Hagler.
It's backing up the ropes.
Tommy got to get off them ropes.
But he's hot as well, Tommy, at this point.
His jab. Right there. You got to keep that distance right there.
Beautiful right there.
You got to stay right there. Bow. Don't let him get close. Keep it right there. He almost closed the distance right there.
Now, the southpaw was a problem for Tommy. He'd never fought a southpaw like this before. He would use that reach jab to get him. And that lunging left.
Yeah.
Look at that. Still throwing. It's only the first half of the minute of the round. Maybe. Goodness gracious.
Hagler went low again. That's the second
time.
Couple
low ones there.
Okay, then look at that. Look, there he caught him again.
Big right hands.
Hagler's taking some shots. He's taking some shots. Anybody else would have went down for them right hands.
He's got a head like a brick. Hagler.
Anybody else would have went down. Yeah, you're right. He did hurt his hand in this fight on his big old head. Bow.
Oh, big left from Tommy. Big right uppercut to follow. Right cross. Left cross. On the brutal punch in close quarter.
Tommy got to spin him.
Another big
right. Got to spin him and get him out of that corner.
He's still throwing big rights at this time. I don't think he's hot the hand. Oh, big rights from Hagler. Still 30 seconds to go. And this is a ridiculous amount of punches being thrown for a first round. And Hearns.
He's uppercut is connected. He's hitting Hagler with some stuff, but Hagler's returning. But to me, this is a Tommy round.
That's very hot again for the end of the round.
He's a little bit off balance.
Yeah.
Look at each other at the end of the round. At the end of that round.
The greatest first round ever. And
everybody's so fast.
So many power shots between them in that first round. There's, ordinarily men would have gone down either side from either Hagler or Hearns punches. Such was the ferocity and spite, and because of the mentality of the two fighters coming into, they promised a war, and war with what we got. Absolutely, but it turns out, Tommy Hearns broke his hand in that round.
Yeah, he broke his hand off of Hagler's head. That's what he was saying. But they was hitting him with some shots. He was hitting him. Yeah, what a round. I'm with you. That was one of those rounds. I gave it to Tommy. But you know what I'm saying?
I gave it to Tommy as well.
Any other guy.
But Hagler visibly hot within the first 30 seconds, and he got the uppercuts and hooks he was catching Hagler with were fantastic. Hagler was getting good when he got up close, and closed the distance. The lunging southpaw jab and left that were coming round the side. I've never seen him fight like that before. This was totally new. This was a new war of attrition that you'd never seen from either of these two boxers. First round.
Yeah, first round was amazing, and it will go down in history as one of the best. Matter of fact, this whole fight, we're gonna get into the second round. Here we go.
Now you got to remember, Hearns' hand is hot, and he starts to use the left.
Yeah, and Emmanuel Stewart also said that he was mad when he walked in. In the corner, when they started massaging his legs. and stuff like that. He was like, you know, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But here's Tommy firing the jab in the right hand.
Yeah, Hagler is unbeknown at this point that Thomas has hurt his hand or is broken. He's just assuming it's the same fight. Thomas Hearns, as you can see, is backing off. He's moving laterally, using all his defensive skills to keep away.
He's smiling in there.
Yeah.
Oh, he tripped over his foot.
That was just a stumble. That was a stumble.
Yeah, he tripped over Hagler's foot.
Well, it was the right hand, but it obviously hurt. He's back to the jabs to the body, trying to keep that southpaw away from him. But that right hand keeps catching him on the way out.
Yeah, he's not throwing the right hand. Tommy's not. He's throwing right there, but he's really using.
He's slapping. He's using the slap glove technique when your hand is hurt.
Yeah, he's definitely using the left. Yeah, he's not using that right hand at all. And you need two hands when you're going against a man like Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas Hearns was known for his right hand, and it was, you know, it was confusing as why he wasn't trying to throw big right hands. And it wasn't until after the fight we were told that he'd actually broken it. So it explains the strategy in round 2 so far. And Hagler's getting a bit tired from his antics at round 1. He slowed down a bit. He's picking his shots a lot more carefully, but it's a fight at range in round 2 rather than the brawl we've seen in round 1.
Yeah.
It's more of a boxing.
And you see how Hagler's coming through. He had that Rocky Marciano style, the same style, like, you know, you see Bernard Hopkins adopt, and others. Like, he's punching him anywhere he could punch him. He's punching him on the hip, on the inside. He's pushing him on the inside. He just caught a mean left hook from Hagler. Hagler is just on him. He's not letting him breathe, not at all, especially after he got that cut on his face. And the blood it looks like is coming down his face. It looks like it's a cut.
Yeah, Hagler got cut by a left hook in this round.
He's coming
on. Right to the nose. The
look at Tommy's smiling. Tommy's smiling like he did something.
Yeah,
smiling like he did something.
I remember the commentators at the time, you know, saying he's mimicking the rope-a-dope. Trying to wear out Hagler, but it was completely different story altogether. But you know, a better round for the purists to judge. But obviously, I think it would have been the same as round 1 if the hand wasn't broken.
Yeah.
But we saw the evidence that he was hurt. He was using the left, jabbing to the body, trying to keep the fight at range in round 2. Hagler probably took the first half of the round off, trying to compose some energy for a strong finish in the second half of the round, which you saw there where he was catching Thomas smiling back at him at the end of the round.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I got you. Seeing that blood dripping. This is a crazy fight. And is it just me? This is how you know that this is an exciting fight, because it's going by so fast. You know what I'm saying? It's going by so fast. I'm trying to call it like it's the first time I've seen this fight, and it's still exciting. It's still exciting watching this fight. I'm gonna watch it. I don't know how we're gonna do it. We might have to watch it back to back without us commenting on it and let the viewers see it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just one of those ones.
It's good to get our view, and then if you forget the commentators and how they were trying to describe the fight, because you can imagine a nightmare the commentators had trying to keep up punch for punch in round 1, and then how the sort of seen round 2 in contrast.
It was an amazing fight. I'm still saying it's an amazing fight, like I haven't seen it 100 times. We're gonna get into the third round, the third and final round. 3 explosive rounds, the best 3 rounds in boxing history. Many will say. There
you go.
You already know.
Again, Stewart telling Hearns to box. As you say, though, Hagler turning it into a street fight. Well, he turns righty. He wants
That's
it to
what
be a
it
street
is.
fight. Listen,
Marvin
Marvin
Hagler
Hagler
putting
has
this
been
for a
rough
street
inside. He's
fight.
thrown some low blows.
You know what I
He
mean?
has thrown some elbows. But you know what? Now the right is getting there, but it's not hurting Hagler. We've got our answer, I think, to some extent. Tommy has been hard-pressed to hurt him with that right. Stunned him early, but not in the last round or two.
Very early. Had him stunned, has him cut. But it was Hagler doing the damage in round two.
And now, just as we thought might happen, Tommy Hearns was hurt early, so he is boxing. Now, he has good boxing skills. He did this against Sugar Ray.
I want y'all to hear
the
commentary. They're just like us. They just like us. There's just so much going on.
Some thought that if Hearns stayed outside and stayed on his bicycle, it would become a dull fight with Marvin chasing him.
But Marvin has been able to corner him, and when Marvin gets him in the corner, he is roughhousing him well.
Again, Hagler is all bloodied. Time is called by Richard Steele to send Hagler over to the ring doctor. He's calling the ring doctor.
They won't stop the fight.
The last thing in the world Hagler wants is the fight to be stopped. The doctor looks at it. Back comes Hagler with a wild left hand. It has to be impeding his vision with the right eye. You never know. Tremendous right. Hearns appears rubbery. He appeared that way in the second round.
You know, Richard Steele is breaking these fighters very quickly. That's uncharacteristic of him. It's hurting Hagler because he wants to work inside. Hearns is smiling, but he's taking shots.
Another right hand. Hearns turns his back, takes another right. Hearns in deep trouble again. Hearns is down. Hearns is down in the third round and on his back. And he's not going to beat the count. I don't believe. Tommy Hearns tries to get up, and he
stop this fight.
Does he get up? He just says no. He can't continue. It's Hagler full of blood. Blood, no doubt, impeding his vision. Stopping under the third round after Hearns almost ended it on a first.
Yeah, Mr. Neutral. That was a heartbreak.
Oh, Alan Pryor and what's the one we done last week?
Alexis Aguayo.
Yeah, that one.
This was a heartbreak because, you know, we was rooting for Thomas to hit me and Hearns when he got hit, and then he went down with that crushing right hand. It was just a bad look. It was just a bad look. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in with us right now. We are highlighting. If you caught in late, you can rewind this joint right here. Just tapping in with The War, episode 7. Many would say is the best 3 rounds in boxing history. Both guys went in there and gave it their all. Thomas the Hitman Hearns broke his hand on Marvin Hagler's head, and because Hagler said that this was a war. He wasn't playing no games. He wasn't coming in here to be flashy. He wasn't coming here to box. He was coming in here to beat Tommy Hearns up. Tommy Hearns didn't get the menu that Hagler didn't want to do a boxing match. He wanted to fight. And boy, did he fight. It was a crazy fight. We're gonna run it back for some of the people who didn't see it. When you talk about the whole fight in its total, how do you feel about the whole fight, Mr. Neutral?
I can only go back to when I first watched it. And, you know, after the first round, we were expecting more of the second. In the second round, the second round was totally different. The third round was totally different again from the second. Rather much a fact, Thomas Hearns was just backing up, trying to flick out jabs and the odd left hook. And I just felt that what happened? Did Hagler hurt him that bad in round 1 that, you know, he fell apart like that? But it was all explained later on. But at the time, he just felt a little bit. I felt ecstatic for Marvin, you know, because after his beating Alan Minter, not getting the recognition, not being able to celebrate as an undisputed champion at the Wembley Arena in London, he finally got his chance in Caesar's Palace, you know, 4 years later, and then became one of the 4 kings after this fight, beating Thomas Hearns the way he did. I come back to, if he'd not broke his hand, would we have seen a different fight in second and third round and maybe longer? I think we would have done. It doesn't do Thomas Hunt's justice, that fight.
No, not at all. And even you know what made me mad? It wasn't the fact that he lost. It was the fact that how everybody acted after he lost. It made it seem like he was soft. And then it made insult to injury. They carried him out like he was a baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They carried him out like he was a baby. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was embarrassing how they did that to him. You know what I mean? He went in there and got brutalized by this man. They could at least let him stand up. And what he got carried like a little baby, man. I know he looks back at this picture right here and he's embarrassed. You know what I mean? This was one of those ones. But his legs wasn't there. I don't know what was going on, but this picture right here, this was this is what a lot of people remembered.
Yeah, it was a welcome to middleweight picture. You know, a bridge too far, as one famous reporter once put it. But it wasn't, you know, because he went on not only to become, in his next fight, the American champion, NABF champion. You know, he went back to 154 pounds, which he still had the WBC and Ring Magazine titles. He didn't lose them in the ring against Hagler. He went back and defended them against Mark Meadow and Doug DeVitt. Dennis Andries, he went up to light heavyweight. And the start of that journey, but people asked, why didn't the rematch happen? Now, the rematch happens purely and simply because Thomas Hunt broke his hand. And he didn't have the time to negotiate another, it was all done in flux sort of thing. But when it comes to, the ink drying on the contract, it never happened. Maybe Thomas Hunt didn't want to take that fight again. We'll never know. But, the main reason is the hand had not healed in time, and Thomas and Marvin had moved on.
Yeah, he definitely did. We got so many classic fights to cover, but this one right here was like a crazy heartbreak. And then my show at the time, I had a favorite show that I used to watch when I used to come home from school. It was Punky Brewster. And after that fight, Marvin and Hagler appeared on that show. You know what I'm saying? So I got a chance to see him again. So everybody knows that's from the 80s know about the show Punky Brewster. You know what I'm saying? And how Marvin Hagler appeared on that show. So shout out to Marvin Hagler, man. This was just one of those ones. This is what I was going to do because I'm seeing that there's people that came in here late. This fight was so explosive. This fight was so dynamite. This fight was all the words the adjectives that try to describe a great fight. This was great 3 rounds. I just want to run it back real fast, just straight through. I'm going to run it back straight through because it was just one of those ones. If you want, you could go back on your own. You could rewind this or you could go somewhere else and just type in this fight and enjoy it on your own. Put it on the big screen. It's not going to last long. Trust me, it's not going to last long. You know what I'm saying? You're going to love it. It's probably, if you go to the gym, it's probably going to make you fired up. You know what I'm saying? It was just one of those ones. So tap in again with this great fight. It was dubbed The War between Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Here's the first round. Once again, me and Neutral, Mr. Neutral, is going to sit here and give you the commentation on this fight as well. Hagler in the blue trunks, Hearns in the gold trunks, the legendary Crunk trunks.
There's the first big punch, that big right. And then Thomas takes it and comes back with a big right of his own. Now the punches are coming thick and fast between them. And these are hurtful punches. These two did not like each other, Trill.
No, not at all. And you said you hit the nail right on the button for me. Say if his hand didn't break in the first round, because he won the first round. Say if his hand didn't break. Say if his hand didn't break.
it would have been more of the same. Look at this spite. Look at the intent, the techniques. These were two elite boxers of the time. One a two-division champion. The other, who had been one of the longest Southern middleweight champions in history, of the fourth longest. He was ranked the greatest southpaw middleweight of all time, Hagler, when all said and done. These were elite of the elite, the four kings of the golden era, two of them right here, and they're giving you the greatest first round man's ever witnessed.
I couldn't say it even any better.
There's another big right from Hagler. Hearns comes back again, but this time he's back on the ropes. Trying to club them big shots. A couple of low blows from Hagler.
A couple? I'm mad Richard Steele didn't take a point.
Yeah. There was three right hand on the trot from Hearns on the head of Hagler. And this is when the hand starts to break. That shot there. Then that uppercut. And for me, them's the shots. Although he threw more, they haven't got half as much intent.
He's ripping them hooks.
He's taking the punch. This is Hagler's country when he's up close and personal and he's got you in the corner. Although the shots are coming back from Hearns, they're not punishing until he throws the left.
Oh, yeah. These guys are going at it.
And Hearns is just, Hagler's just belligerent. He just wants to get his man out. Hearns is now, I've had enough. I'm trying to get out of that corner. Throwing like a madman, even though his hand is broken. It's all adrenaline at this point. He probably doesn't even know his hand is broken. He's still throwing clubs. There's another one that sends Thomas back. Last 10 seconds, and he throws another big right hand ahead of Hagler. Incredible. Incredible.
Amazing.
And there it was. Round two. And this is where Hearns is on his toes. Snapping out that left hand. He tries to go to the body 4 or 5 times. Little left hook there. Keeping it at range. Trying to time it where he beats Hagler to the punch, therefore he cannot counter. Moving around the ring. It's at this point people are saying what's happening. This is not the same as round one. The right hand is not thrown. The left hand is throwing too hard. He's getting off balance. These are the signs that you're hurt. You've hurt a hand. When you're loading up on one side and you get off balance when you miss, and then face the cord, check left hook, sends him stumbling back, but he did triple, he was stumbling over the feet at the same time. Tries to club another right hand. Back comes Hagler. He's still keeping that left hand going out. This is very strange considering round one was a war.
He didn't use that right hand. That right hand was hurt. So a lot of people say what happened.
For round three, it's non-existent. There you go. Pumping out that jab. There's a leaping left hook that missed. And now
Hagler is just still, he still keep going.
He's going at the same pace as Hearns that's exerting all the energy, sapping out of his legs. Head's being carried out at the end of the ring. He's hurt and he's having to work twice as hard to keep away from the marauding Hagler, who's working his body, working the chin. He's holding on there, Thomas. And these are the signs. This is only round two. You never hold in round two unless you're under pressure or hurt. Tries to throw right-left combinations in a southpaw, sort of southpaw stance, but it's getting untidy now. Hagler's just picking his moment. And it's a bit of Thomas Hearns' sort of showmanship that cost him being set up.
Yeah.
For me, he's 2 or 3 punches away from stoppage at this point. He's taken a lot. He's been held clubbed. Check left hook, another right, that hurt him, then another left hurt him. He's in all sorts of trouble right now, Thomas Hearns. He's punching out of survival. And Hagler's still going to work, belligerent as ever. It's only round two. And Hearns is hanging on for dear life. Every punch is sapping him of his game. At the end of round 2, he laughs, but it's a disguise. It's a mask. He's in all kinds of trouble, and he knows it. Emmanuel Stewart knows it.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know why we love boxing so much and why we're so passionate about boxing so much, please go back and watch this fight. This is 3 exciting rounds of just pure excitement. You're going to love this. You're going to love this. We're getting into the third.
Again, Stewart telling Hearns to box. As you say, though, Hagler turning it into a street fight.
Well, he turns righty. He wants it to be a street fight. Listen, Marvin Hagler has been rough inside. He's thrown some low blows. He has thrown some elbows.
Don't push.
But you know what? Now the right is getting there, but it's not hurting Hagler. We've got our answer, I think, to some extent. Tommy has been hard-pressed to hurt him with that right. Stunned him early, but not in the last round or 2.
Very early. Had him stunned, has him cut. But it was Hagler doing the damage in round 2.
And now, just as we thought might happen, Tommy Hearns was hurt early, so he is boxing. Now, he has good boxing skills. He did this against Sugar Ray. Can Hagler get to him in this posture?
Some people thought, as he again becomes off balance, some thought that if Hearns stayed outside and stayed on his bicycle, it would become a dull fight with Marvin chasing him.
But Marvin has been able to corner him, and when Marvin gets him in the corner, he is roughhousing him well.
Again, Hagler is all bloodied. Time is called by Richard Steele to send Hagler over to the ring doctor. He's calling the ring doctor in. The last thing in the world Hagler wants is the fight to be stopped. The doctor looks at it. Back comes Hagler with a wild left hand. It has to be impeding his vision with the right eye. You never know it, though. Tremendous right. Hearns appears rubbery. He appeared that way in the second round.
You know, Richard Steele is breaking these fighters very quickly. That's uncharacteristic of him. It's hurting Hagler because he wants to work inside. Hearns is smiling, but he's taking shots.
Another right hand. Hearns turns his back, takes another right. Hearns in deep trouble again. Hearns is down. Hearns is down in the 3rd round and on his back. And he's not going to beat the count. I don't believe. Tommy Hearns tries to get up, and
They've got to stop this fight.
Does he get up? He just does no. He can't continue. It's Hagler, full of blood. Blood, no doubt, impeding his vision, stopping him in the 3rd round after Hearns almost ended it on a 1st-round knockout.
It's nothing like boxing. Nothing like boxing, my friend.
The emotions at the end of that, you can hear it ringside. You can hear it in the commentators. And, you know, they're ecstatic. Yeah. Even the way it ended after just 3 rounds, they're ecstatic. It was worth the price alone, that 1st round, never mind the 3 rounds. And to see Hagler come and stop Thomas Hearns and get his day. Because Thomas Hearns went on to have many days after.
Yeah.
But Hagler only had 2 more fights after this.
You know, Tommy, 5 was the first person to be 5-time world champion in 5 different weight classes. You know what I'm saying? And Tommy got his revenge. Well, not really, but he got his revenge against his first loss against Ray. People, he went and fought him again. It was a draw. But everybody, you speak to says that Tommy won that fight. Even Ray later said that Tommy won that fight. So he was able to get back. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get back with his good friend. Rest in peace to Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Yes, rest in peace.
Yeah, we definitely want to give you your flowers and say thank you. Thank you so much for all the joy and excitement that you have brought to this sport that we love so much. And thank you for your hard work and effort. You probably didn't get the praise while you was fighting. But nowadays, when everybody is fighting and they're coming forward and they're showing great heart, the first person that they mention is Marvelous Marvin Hagler. You know, you can't mention Bernard Hopkins. You can't mention the Triple G's unless you mention that man right there. Rest in peace, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And right there in the middle is rest in peace to the one and only Emmanuel Stewart, was one of the great trainers and founder of the Crunk Gym. Then you got Tommy there. Tommy's still going. You can see him on social media, him and Ray joking back and forth. He's 67 years old, and he's still going, so shout out to Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Want to definitely give you your flowers as well and say thank you for all the excitement you have brought to fight fans around the world. And to Marvelous Marvin Hagler, you will be truly, you will be missed, man. You're definitely an icon in the sport of boxing, as well as Manny and Tommy as well. This was dubbed the war, Mr. Neutral.
The war between the generational greats. Marvin Hagler, as I said before, voted the greatest middleweight southpaw of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The 68th greatest boxer that ever lived. Thomas the Hitman Hearns, 14th hardest punching ranked of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Similar ranking in boxing and the Boxing Hall of Fame. These guys are just unbelievable, and for what they brought to boxing. 4 kings,
5 kings,
5 kings. Never forget Wilfred. We'll talk about Wilfred another time.
Mm-hmm. One of the youngest. He was the youngest to snatch one.
17 years of age.
He was youngest to snatch one. So, we definitely going to be talking about Mr. Benitez. You know what I mean? Thank you, Trey. You know what I'm saying? It was wartime. So we definitely had to give both gentlemen their flowers. We will be back next Sunday with another dope episode of Fight Night Chronicles. I love this show. And I get a lot of feedback from this. Everybody loves how we go back in the days and we talk about the old fights like they just happened. We get to relive these memorable moments. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching right now, you can hit us up anywhere. You can hit me on X, you can hit us on the gram, you can hit Mr. Neutral as well, or you can just hit us in this comment section another time and just let us know what fights do you want us to cover. You know what I mean? Because we're here for you as well, not only for us because we love the sport of boxing so much. You know what I'm saying? We're here for you guys too. We want y'all to be entertained and want y'all to be tuned and locked in with us as well, because I know that y'all are passionate fight fans as well. Mr. Neutral, we did it again.
We've done it, Dad. And if you are watching this for the first time, make sure you give iBoxingHub a like and subscribe. It's free, it's painless. And do it now. And hit the notification bell every time iBoxingHub go live. You'll get a notification. Great shows like this. You got the boys on a Monday, Tuesday, all through the week. iBoxingHub giving you great content. And while you're at it, give us a like and subscribe to Red Corner Boxing.
You know it. You got to definitely show love to Red Corner Boxing. And shout out to my man Jams. And shout out to the Prediction League, with me and Mr. Neutral and my homeboy Alexander the Great. Y'all got to check that out as well. You already know. It's Fight Night Chronicles, man. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in for another episode. You heard my brother, Mr. Neutral, the classy one. Make sure that you please like and subscribe to the channel. We really, really, really appreciate it from the heart. Once again, shout out to yours truly, Trey. I see you, man. I see you. I see
you, brother.
I see you, my brother, man. Thank you for being locked in with us in the conversation. And shout out to the people that's tuning in right there. I see it. I see y'all right there. I see it right there. And I appreciate y'all from the heart because y'all could be anywhere. But y'all decided to be here with me and Mr. Neutral. Much love.
Time fast. We love you.
Yeah. Feels good.